8 out of 10 women believe that the first kiss will tell them everything that they need to know about a relationship. And believe me, she has definitely thought about it.
She has.
Oh, of course. I mean, not that she's going to act on it, so it's no real big deal.
All right, well, it's no big deal then.
It's a very big deal, Albert.
Huge, monumental.
You are not listening. I need you to wrap your head around this. Tomorrow night, Allegra Cole could have her last first kiss.
In this episode, we're not just exploring the science of kissing, we're syncing our heartbeats to the rhythm of love. From Prince's iconic Kiss to the timeless classic It's in His Kiss, we're diving into the melodies that resonate with the art of smooching. Join us as we unravel the lyrical secrets and scientific wonders behind those musical kisses. Get ready to experience the magic where music and osculation, yeah, I said it, meet. Ah, the art of the perfect kiss. An age-old dance of romance, chemistry, and maybe the touch of the unexpected. That hilarious scene from Hitch sets the stage for our exploration into the science of smooching. Welcome to Put 'em on the Couch, where we're about to unravel the mysteries of kissing, from the first awkward peck to the passionate embraces that stand the test of time. Now, as we embark on this journey, let's ponder a few questions. Can a kiss be dangerous? What about the very first kiss in history? Do all people kiss? And what about our fellow creatures in the animal kingdom? Can a simple kiss on a boo-boo really make it feel better? Or is that just child's play? Have you ever wondered why some cultures opt for smelling their kids' heads instead of kissing? And let's not forget the magic potion we exchange. What's in saliva anyway? We'll delve into the tantalizing possibility of determining someone's parental potential with a kiss. Did kissing originate from the sweet rituals of mother transferring chewed foods to their babies mouth to mouth, as suggested by some scientists? What wisdom did Darwin share about this intimate act? And of course, are there health benefits to kissing? Fighting tooth decay? Boosting immunity? Really? Maybe even acting as a vaccination against certain diseases, as some microbiologists might believe? So whether you're a seasoned kisser or pondering your first lip lock, join us in this exploration of osculation, or phylometology, and the enchanting world of kissing. But first, we want to hear from you. When was your first kiss? Don't forget to share those stories, likes, and reviews on Spotify, Apple, and the Facebook page, Put 'em on the Couch. Now, without further ado, let's dive into the science of face sucking. Nelson Boyer.
Welcome back, buddy. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you as well, man.
Of course, for me, Valentine's Day is the happiest of days because my wife and I both disdain it.
I thought you were going to say for you and your wife, Valentine's Day is every day except today.
No, we hate it with the fire of a thousand suns. And honestly, man, we're not like that romantic. You know what I mean?
No,
I mean, in
don't.
some respects, we're kind of romantic, but we're not that romantic.
I see. So tell me, man, do you remember your first smooch, your first face suck?
With my wife or in
just
general?
in general.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean,
absolutely.
in your case, I think you and your wife been together since what? 3rd grade? 5th grade?
Yeah. Preschool.
Middle school, right?
Preschool.
Really? Middle? You guys met
middle.
at the bus stop in middle school, right?
Yeah, middle school.
So it could be your wife, but no.
No,
do you
God,
remember?
come on, man. I was a player.
Oh, okay. You were knocking them dead at the
Sucking face in
K
second
through-
grade, baby.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, no, actually, I was probably something of a late bloomer. My first kiss was in 4th grade, summer of 4th grade. It was magic.
What do you remember about it?
What don't I remember about it?
The name of the guy, what he smelled like. I don't know.
Actually, I don't remember the name of the girl.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it was Jessica. Maybe my sister would remember. We were sent up to, we were sent up to hang out with our family that year. We spent like a week with 6 different relatives in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And during one of those weeks, I met a girl who was like a neighbor of a relative of mine, an uncle or something. And we ended up making out
Nice.
all week. It was fun.
Well, speaking of memorable,
Hurt when it ended, though.
yeah, I bet.
What about you?
I
What
bet.
was your first
well,
kiss?
if you don't mind me sharing a quick tale, I remember it like it was yesterday, Nelson. Under that starry sky, the rain barely tipping down, but she and I were protected from the weather because I was sitting up under an air condition hanging out of the window from the living room of my great grandmother's house on Truett Street in Greenwood, South Carolina. Oh man, it's etched.
Was it good?
It's etched into my memory. So strongly. Yeah, it was good. It was romantic. It was tantalizing, yet a little forbidden, you know. Ah, young love.
Well, what about your?
She had long hair, soft lips, Nelson. I even remember her name. It was Kim. And if it weren't for my pesky mom coming out on the porch and yelling, "Jason, what are you doing?" knowing full well that I was out there kissing Kim. Now, I don't think it's fair that Mom got so mad at me.
I mean, God, you were old enough to drive. What did she care?
How could I have known Kim was my cousin?
Well, because you're from South Carolina. Aren't they all cousins?
No, I was going to say, she yelled at me from the porch. And here's the funny thing. Apparently, even in South Carolina, it's frowned upon.
Yeah, I mean, there's taboos.
Kissing your cousin. So, yeah, I didn't realize it. I was making out with my cousin. That's a true story.
Well, you know, maybe you could be a Roosevelt. You could be president.
Yeah, if only.
They're fifth cousins, though. I wonder what the rules are. I mean, for snuggling.
Cousins.
Well, I mean,
Canoodling.
we have to talk. You have to ask. Well, God, you'd have to ask about who's it? Rudy Giuliani. Didn't he marry a cousin? We've had a lot of cousin marriages, and it must be like everybody makes fun of South Carolina, but it's almost like a New York thing, huh?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, if you count Giuliani and all the
you got to count
Kennedys, well, that Kennedy's definitely Massachusetts.
You got to count them.
So look, you realize that there is no official definition of kissing.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There've been a few contenders. I'll mention one. A lady named Cheryl Christenbaum, I think. She's written a book on the science of kissing. She's actually a research scientist, I think, currently at Michigan State. She's been at UT Austin. She's been at Duke University when she started her career. But anyway, for her research, she just simply defined kissing as pressing your lips up against something. It doesn't even have to be another person. But others have obviously suggested that, kissing, if it's going to be romantic, then it has to be done with somebody that's not your relative for maybe the purpose of like showing love or love making. And it needs to be a kiss on at least another body part, preferably the other person's lips. But yeah, there's no real specific definition because, well, partly because we haven't been studying kissing scientifically for very long.
Well, yeah, one of the things that I love about being a historian is the idea. It kind of drives the whole study almost. The idea that for everything that has ever happened, for everything that we as human beings have ever done, there has to be a first time for it.
Well, I was going to ask you that question.
There's got to be a first time for it.
Do we know if there's something that sort of marks the first, like, romantic kiss among humans? I mean, maybe there's something in the Epic of Gilgamesh or something in the Roman Empire, right?
There's plenty of debate on the topic. Some people point to Hinduism.
Yeah, the Vedas, right?
Yeah,
Sanskrit.
some people point to Mesopotamia. In Hinduism, the idea was they were sucking each other's souls.
Yeah, soul sucking.
Right, soul sucking.
There's a song in there somewhere.
Not in a bad way, but like in a sharing your soul.
Communicating, getting to know one another.
And with something like sex, which also I guess had to have a first time, there's an obvious evolutionary
component,
biological necessity.
You would think.
Kissing's kind of unique to human beings, and we think that, and this is my best answer for you, it developed at separate times and places across the world, and so I don't give it to any.
Suggesting it's not probably biological, at least not exclusively biological.
Not exclusively biological.
Because if it were, we'd see more universality.
Sure, especially our romantic variety of kissing. Now I don't know about other,
animals,
platonic sort of kissing, friendships.
Oh, non-romantic.
So the French are famous for this. Although maybe it's romantic in France. I don't know.
Well, did you know that there have been some studies, including Justin Garcia's group out of Kinsey Institute in Indiana University. I wasn't able to talk with him. He didn't get back with me, probably because I didn't reach out to him in time. But his group, I think in 2015, went out and surveyed about 168 different societies, different cultures. And they were planning on, having to explain the fact that most cultures do, in fact, engage in romantic kissing. And to his surprise, only about 50% of them indicated that they kiss romantically.
See, that's weird too, because to me that's such a small percent, or it's not a small percentage, but
But it's not as many as you'd think. For certainly
no.
not universal.
right. And so, but you also can't say it's cultural when it's that many.
That many, yeah.
And so it
Well-
really is a strange thing. This
So,
kiss.
so here's the thing. I think if you ask evolutionary biologists what they believe the purpose of kissing is, they would probably tell you that it's about communicating what kind of potential mate the other person is. Specifically, what kind of potential mate the heterosexual male partner, the potential male partner, would be. Think about it this way. For women, across most of the animal kingdom, I dare say, a kiss, if it leads to sex, could be dangerous in the sense that that could equal 9 months of pregnancy, right? But for a man, a kiss is really just a kiss. It can mean a lot or little or nothing at all. You could just wipe it off, forget about it, and keep going. And there's no 9 months of pregnancy. There's no parasitizing your abdomen. So what an evolutionary biologist might say is that women maybe evolved the kiss or co-opted the kiss as a way of assessing a partner's potential mate value, right? A partner's potential value as a father. And I'm not saying consciously necessarily, but unconsciously, sort of sampling the man's DNA, or what's called the major histocompatibility complex, which are those genes that code for the uniqueness of the immune system. We do find in studies similar to this, women all over the world find certain men's sweat arousing, appealing, and other men's sweat not so arousing or appealing. And guess whose sweat they find the least arousing or appealing? The sweat of their dads, uncles, and brothers. We believe that that's because they are unconsciously picking up on the similarity within the immune system of brother's sweaty t-shirt and their own sweat, their own immune system. You wouldn't want offspring to be so, you wouldn't want offspring to be the result of such little genetic diversity. You want to make sure that your significant other, the person that you're procreating with, has a compatible immune system, a compatible series of genes. So we think that maybe kissing is a way of getting close to a person, and sampling something about them through their saliva in the case of actual mouth to mouth, but maybe sniffing. Maybe we're picking up pheromones or something, right? And if you think about it, throughout the world, we sniff a lot, right? People in the Middle East sniff. People throughout Thailand sniff. The Mongolians kiss.
So you
and
think
sniff.
maybe it was a simple act of
getting close,
taking a quick sniff and then maybe tripping?
Which makes you wonder about Joe
pushed.
Biden, doesn't it? Maybe he's more evolved than we think. Maybe he's smarter than we think. Maybe he knows something we don't. People are always kidding him about sniffing people's heads, but he's just getting information about them. He's just finding out what kind of person they are.
Yeah, I think no, I'm not going there. So listen, is this what leads up to a kiss in your household? This hot talk about pheromones, DNA,
no, I was going to say,
immune systems?
please.
This is sexy.
Don't
Sexy,
use
Jason.
anything I'm telling you as fodder or otherwise foreplay to try to get your significant other in the mood. I don't think that's going to work.
No, I don't think so either.
Neither is like leaving some saliva on a cup and trying to exchange it with your significant other surreptitiously.
Yeah, but let me just put this out there, okay? Because I get where you're coming from, evolutionarily speaking, all of that. And this is purely anecdotal, but what else do we have to go on? A kiss feels, to me, and I'd love to get our listeners to weigh in on Facebook or maybe join the conversation somehow, but it feels very natural.
Well,
it feels very natural.
Yeah,
and if you go back in the record,
but when
right?
it's not, when it doesn't feel right, people know it, right? Upwards of 60% of people say, look, I have just pulled the plug on an otherwise budding relationship because we kissed and it just didn't feel right.
I think that goes to my point, though.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is kissing
when it's good.
in a good relationship.
Yeah, it's good when it's good and it's bad when it's bad.
Yeah. Do you think, would you ever date or continue to date a bad kisser?
No. In fact, I actually have stopped dating someone that I didn't think was compatible with me in terms of the kiss.
Well, do you
here's
think
the thing,
one
I don't know if
man's-
it was conscious. I don't know if it was like,
It's
that
bad, or
felt
if it
weird,
was-
it's bad, our mouths didn't line up, and therefore I don't want to continue doing it because it feels weird. Or if that was just my unconscious speaking through my voice.
Right.
Saying you're incompatible. You guys are too similar genetically, and your offspring would be
Well, that's why I'm
defective.
saying maybe that's why I said it feels natural.
Yeah, yeah.
In a good relationship.
Now there are people who study the act of kissing itself, right? They tell you that when you look at thousands of people across all sorts of cultures and contexts engaging in romantic kissing, everybody tilts their head slightly to the right, no matter if they're right or left-handed. And no one really understands why that is.
Yeah, that is weird. Have you ever tried to go the other way? There was a whole thing about it. We tried before. It's like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
So
this is terrible.
What other kiss no-nos do you have for us? Do you have some?
You probably don't want to fill another person's mouth up with your tongue. You probably don't want to exchange too much saliva all at once.
Where are you on eyes open or closed?
Eyes open and closed, especially with someone that I love. I don't really mind. Again, it depends if it's a peck or if it's just like a little nibble saying goodnight. I mean, some scientists argue that kissing in most cultures, at least nowadays, is really about punctuating the relationship. And I know from my own family, we kiss to punctuate, right? Like I kiss you to tell you I love you. I kiss you to say goodbye. I kiss you to say just because. I kiss you to greet you good morning. It's not just about sex. Obviously, because I'm doing it with my kids, but also even with my wife, it's not more often than not about sex. We're just kissing each other to mark that moment. It's a punctuation mark.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I kind of like.
Is there a rule on what a healthy relationship needs to have in terms of a kiss?
No, as long as there is kissing within the cultural acceptable bounds. Yeah, so that study's been looked at as well. People were asked across the U.S., would you give up kissing or sex? They wanted to find out if your relationship could be satisfactory, basically, without one or the other. And more people say, I can't be in a satisfying long-term relationship without kissing versus I can't be in one without sex. So we know that, at least as far as people's self-reports, they say that kissing is more important to them slightly than having sex.
I could see that, I suppose, but
I mean, it is an intimate thing, right? Not that sex isn't, but it is an intimate thing, and I think it can communicate so many different things that maybe sex just can't.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Think about all the things that kissing can communicate. It can communicate love, respect, friendship, reconciliation, trust.
Well, and also it can be completely, as I said, it can be completely platonic. Yeah. Whereas I don't know
air kissing
sex could ever be, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess
it's weird.
Well, it certainly is with some chimps. Our closest living relatives, the bonobo chimps, they have sex quite a bit.
They also kiss quite a bit.
They kiss quite a bit, although they do what Darwin called kiss-like behavior. We don't know if they're kissing because we can't really attribute or anthropomorphize. We try not to. We don't know exactly what their motivation is, but we do know they suck each other's tongues for up to 15 minutes. And we know that they're more likely to do that when they are like in a spirit of grooming or reconciling or sharing communally. It might be that they are engaging in kissing the same way we engage in hugging. So most animals who kiss or neck or lick one another.
Bonobos hug as well.
Yeah, but their kiss might represent our hug.
Okay.
Right? So they'll kiss anybody and everybody for all sorts of reasons. We don't do that quite as much, but we will hug.
What about you personally? You've been married for what, 10 years?
At least a little over.
A little over 10 years. I mean,
my kisses involved?
No, yeah. I mean, just the
Yeah, we don't use tongue hardly any.
You see what I'm saying?
Anymore.
Like when I was a kid, like 16, 17, dating my now wife.
That's the go-to move,
man,
isn't it?
it was just
tongue.
Nothing like making out.
No.
Nothing like making out.
In fact,
but I can't remember the last time Amanda and I have actually sat
and just had a make-out session.
Maybe if we were like, no, it wasn't like making out a session. I mean, it was supposed to lead to something else. But I think really it was, if we've been drinking or something, it's not like on a Saturday we're going to start making out the way we used to.
Well, I think Desmond Morris,
maybe I just lost the step.
The famous anthropologist who wrote The Naked Ape, he sent his students out to ask survey questions of the opposite sex. And one of the things he found is that people are more likely to say, I don't kiss just because I like kissing. I kiss because I hope it'll lead to something else. And others would say, well, I like kissing because I like to find out more about the person. I like to find out what they taste like, smell like what kind of a giver they are, like how they share. Now, let me ask you, who do you think disproportionately said, I just kiss hoping it'll lead to something more?
I don't think either of us really.
Men in
Oh,
his
men
study.
would, yeah,
in
sure,
his study,
sure.
men did, and in his study, women were more likely to say, "Oh, well, I'm learning so much about the person from the kiss." I've heard other psychologists and biologists say for women, kissing is extremely important early in the relationship, like before sex, and for men, it's important. Excuse me, the opposite. For men, it's important before you have sex, and for women, it's important after sex, right? Like, which makes sense. If men are using it, at least in part, to sort of hoping it'll lead to sex, then of course they would be really into it before sex,
Yeah.
and not as much after. There's also some suggestions that, inside the saliva itself, there's a cocktail of hormones, neurotransmitters, you name it, including chemicals like serotonin, which makes us crave one another and become almost obsessive with our thoughts of one another.
Yes.
Oxytocin, which makes us feel warmth or bonding towards one another and trust. But also testosterone, which might possibly raise our sexual receptivity or proceptivity.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one.
It might
Yep.
actually encourage arousal. So the sloppier kissers, maybe they are unconsciously or consciously trying to get the woman in the mood, which is kind of interesting. Look, I'll tell you.
I don't know. Most women would tell you a sloppy kiss is a definite turnoff.
Yeah, but you know what they say more often than not? The thing they remember about a bad kiss is that the person's smell, the person's taste. They
And
remember
then
that
there's
more than
back
just
to that smell element of
that,
the old
that connection to
pucker
sniffing.
up.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, well, look, let's take a little break while we are thinking about it and come back and talk a little more about oculation or kissing. You're listening to Put 'em on the Couch with Nelson Boyer and Jason McCoy. And today's topic, the science of smooching.
Don't have to be rich to be my girl. You don't have to be cool to rule my world. Ain't no particular sign I'm more compatible with. I just want your extra time and your kiss.
And we're back. You've been listening to Put 'em on the Couch with your host, Jason McCoy, and my co-host and confidant, Nelson Boyer. Listen, we've been talking about the science of oculation or kissing, smooching, face sucking. We've been talking about some of the biology, some of the chemistry, some of the real nuts and bolts evolutionarily, what might have sort of propelled us towards this thing we call romantic kissing today. Nelson, in your travels, your study as a historian, poli-sci guy, what would you like to comment on regarding this strange behavior?
Yeah, well, I
kissing.
mean, the cultural acceptance, the social acceptance, and as a result, the laws that govern kissing are different depending on where you go or any public displays of affection. They've been different in the United States. We've had different laws, weird laws. I will say the best place I have ever been for the kiss by far, Rio de Janeiro.
Really?
It's
How so?
Carnival, baby.
Oh, Carnival.
Oh,
It's
my
about
God.
That time,
I mean,
right?
look, these
it's about that time. It's Ash Wednesday coming up.
Everybody's in good shape. Everybody's on the
Good
beach.
spirits.
Good spirits. Caipirinha. I mean, it's
Now, why are they kissing? Not to greet or not to say hello. They're kissing what? Just to express their sexuality, express their love of one
mostly,
another?
I would suppose. Yeah, it's just
party time.
It's party time, baby, and it's all freeing. Now, the year before we went to
Yeah.
Rio in 2021, we went to probably the most restrictive culture that I have ever been to, at least when
Right.
it comes to kissing, public displays of affection.
What was that?
Dubai.
Dubai.
In the Middle East. Did you know we went once to take a picture at the I got to think of the place. It was the mosque, the Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi, and I put my arm around my daughter.
Not a good move.
No. And they were very, very clear. And look, this is the age of the selfie, right?
Yeah.
You got people falling off the Grand Canyon because
Yeah.
they're so obsessed with these things. You got Westerners going over to Dubai wanting to do
So
Western
somebody actually
things.
stopped you when you were putting your arm around your daughter to do
They
something?
said no.
Really? So these were authorities.
And there's only designated areas where you can take a selfie at the
begin
mosque
with,
because you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
be respectful.
Well, I do know there's a place in America, maybe Kentucky or somewhere, where it's still on the books that you can't
Not
like
supposed
kiss
to.
right outside of a church on Sunday or something like that.
I think it's
right?
Connecticut.
Yeah.
Connecticut has a lot of really weird conservative laws that you wouldn't expect. It's very
Yeah.
Catholic. But if you go over to different cultures, public displays of affection have been problematic. We were talking earlier about the first kiss, about Mesopotamia.
Mm-hmm.
They had laws governing when you could kiss.
Who you could kiss.
Because kissing for the Mesopotamians was inherently sexual, and that was something that people, were modest about. Even back then, people were, relatively speaking, modest and aware of privacy and their sexuality.
Well, back to Justin Garcia, the guy who works as the director of the Kinsey Institute now in Indiana. He and his team, they found out some interesting things cross-culturally about kissing. For one, they found out that Middle Easterners, in 10 out of the 10 groups of Middle Easterners they surveyed, all engage in romantic kissing. It's a big part of romance for them. They found hardly anyone, if any society in Central America, admitted to kissing romantically. And America, specifically North America, guess how many groups of people said, "Yeah, we kiss routinely"?
How many groups or what percentage?
They did it as these groups, I think, but it was 55%, which was surprising to me that
seems low.
That Westerners don't kiss romantic. At least they're not telling researchers that they kiss romantically. It's kind of strange.
I'd have to know more about that study. That seems low to me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me that Middle Easterners kiss or that people who
But I think that probably is a misconception that the Middle East is full of all these really, draconian rules, and we keep our distance from women, we cover them up, and somehow that they don't enjoy touching or kissing or sex, but that's not true.
Cultural, social norms, they change over time. I mean, Lucy and Ricky didn't sleep in separate beds, but somehow they had a baby.
Yeah, true.
Right? So in the 50s...
Of course, that stingray at the North Carolina aquarium's having a baby as well, and hadn't had a male around for the past 7 years. So I guess there could be a virgin birth.
Yeah, I suppose. Kissing was really, in the 30s, 40s, especially the 50s, public displays of affection. Even today, people have
hang-ups, don't
a
they?
hang-up on public displays.
Well,
Do you
no,
care?
of course I don't care, but I think people have more of a hang-up when it comes to certain groups of people kissing, right? We don't want to see, quote, those people kissing, but it's okay if we do it. I mean, that was certainly the case when I was growing up.
Do you know what the first lesbian kiss on television was?
I think it was Murphy Brown or something like that.
No, it was Roseanne.
Roseanne,
yeah.
her daughter.
No, Roseanne.
Roseanne
Barr.
herself had a...
Come on, man! You got to know the history of the first lesbian kiss on television.
No, I don't follow Roseanne Barr after
she went to a gay bar on the show, and she was hit on, and she ended up making out with somebody.
Yeah,
that's sweet, isn't it?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other historical or culturally or economically relevant associations with kissing we should know about?
Politicians have used public displays of affection to seem more normal, and I'm not talking about the platonic. They go and kiss a baby.
Yeah.
By the way, have never kissed a baby. I mean,
Wow.
I've kissed my babies, but I've never gone out to kiss
anyone else's
I think
babies.
that's weird. Don't kiss my baby.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't like kissing babies in general. In fact, I was on a website the other night, and this lady said, "I haven't kissed my kid since my kid was 3 years old. That's just weird and creepy." And I'm thinking, it's weird and creepy for you to think kissing your own baby is weird and creepy, isn't it?
Yeah, I've heard people say weird stuff like that. But what about somebody like Al Gore? I don't know if you remember 2000, the
kissing Tipper
convention.
Gore.
Yeah, I mean, it was humanizing. People said, "Oh wow, he's not a stiff robot."
Yeah, even though it looked like a stiff robot kiss.
It did.
Same thing when Mitt Romney kisses his wife. I thought,
do they kiss in public? I haven't seen that.
I forget. I think they did.
You never seen Trump kiss anybody?
No. He doesn't kiss and tell.
Other people do. Other people are
Trump gets right down to business. Plus, you've already heard that kissing is so intimate. That's the reason prostitutes don't do it. They like to reserve that for the people they care most about, and maybe that's why Trump hasn't done much kissing. He's too busy paying prostitutes.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe he's just not somebody who's comfortable with intimacy.
Yeah.
Not that we are going back to psychoanalyze him.
But so, continuing this idea of the platonic kiss, right? There's a lot of different sort of types of kisses, reasons we can kiss other than leading to sex or other than
I'm interested in these. I'm interested in these. First of all, let's start with the greeting kiss. Give me the greeting kiss. That's just totally cultural,
the
right?
The air kiss, the kiss on the cheek, the head, a variety of kissing hands, and I guess in some places kissing feet, particularly if you're showing subservience or something like that.
Well, it's also religious.
Religious, yeah. I think obviously there's a ton of reasons we might kiss other than hoping it'll lead to sex or other than communicating our romantic intentions with one another. And that's with other adults. We also have kissing with children, right? We can kiss them on the forehead. We can kiss them on the cheek, kiss them on the lips. I'll admit, I kissed both my 7 and 9-year-old on the lips.
I was going to ask about your dad. Did you kiss your dad on the lips?
I did not, and I didn't like it. He would try, and I didn't like it. But I remember my dad had cigarette and coffee breath. My dad had like a scratchy beard. My dad was already, just, I don't know. I was always icked out by my dad anyway, so I don't know. But honestly, I don't remember kissing my mom on the lips that much either. And when I did it, I remember it feeling awkward. I didn't want to keep doing it. So I always liked kissing
both my parents on the. I still do.
Yeah,
I still kiss my parents on the lips.
I tried to kiss them on the cheek and hug them, but again, my son and daughter, I kissed them both on the lips. I don't think anything of it.
No,
and
I don't.
people have asked, how long will that continue? And I just say, as long as they're comfortable doing it.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, it's not about me at this point. It's about them.
Yeah, I've never really thought twice about it. I guess we grew up in an
amorous, affectionate household.
Yeah, we grew up. I mean, we always had a lot of affection within our family dynamic, and so that was just something that was kiss on the lips.
Blowing kisses. What about? I got a couple of others for you. What about kissing when you're greeting perfect strangers?
Well, I think it depends on it's cultural, right?
Do you ever do it here in America?
No, I would never do that here in the United States.
I do know a few people kind of a little bit. Like they're not really close to me. They're acquaintances, and every time I get around them, they do try to like grab me and kiss me. It's a little awkward, but I just say, well, I just chalk it up to that's just who they are, and I'll try to go along with it.
Yeah, you got to be careful in today's day and age, right? Because even a shot across the cheek could be misconstrued.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to say a shot in the mouth could lead to like mononucleosis, the Epstein-Barr virus.
I mean, it could definitely do those things.
Right?
Yeah, it could definitely do those things.
Herpes simplex 1 and hepatitis and all the others.
But and I was sort of bringing this up earlier.
Which is why I don't like True Blood and all those other vampire movies, because they encourage us to bite when we're into one another. And I think that's just gross hygienically. You don't want to open up a wound and then introduce
I would say
80,000 bacteria within 10 seconds of kissing. Biologists find that about 80,000 bacteria are swapped in.
Yeah, but that's for a French kiss. Now, when do you French kiss your wife?
No, that's what I was saying. We asked that earlier. I don't French kiss that often. If we do it, it's
I might have done
playfully.
It like I might have done it when I was little.
Be silly.
Yeah.
But now we don't typically do that. But yeah, I mean, we've got 20 or 30 different strains of different microorganisms in our spit.
Yeah, I know. It can be pretty gross. I mean, it's a guarantee, right? So I'll tell you one story. I do remember one particularly vigorous makeout session when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, woke up, or that night, it was Friday, I had a basketball game on Saturday. I was playing, I think it's important that our listeners know that I was playing basketball at a junior varsity level. I think that's important.
4'10".
At 4'11". 4'11" that year. So I had sprouted.
Could still outjump most people in the gym, I bet.
Hey, man, I was decent. I wasn't starting, but I was coming off the bench. So I had the game, went to bed, got so sick. I mean, I had the worst flu of my life. 3 days later, same thing with Amanda. We were both dead. There are very few times I can think of in my 3-year, relationship with my wife, then girlfriend, when we were making out all the time, that one of us would get sick and the other wouldn't.
Interesting,
right? We were always getting sick together.
Yeah, interesting to bring that up. That's been studied, actually. This idea of whether or not your immune system's somewhat synchronized. The more you kiss, the longer you're in a relationship where there's romantic kissing, and it turns out that the microbiota, the microbiome in your mouth. It looks very similar to the microbiome in your wife's mouth if you guys kiss routinely. How about that? So
with romantic kissing, not with just the good morning, good night.
just with sharing kisses in general. I mean, obviously, romantic kissing can probably swap a little bit more saliva, but your mouth is still teeming both on the lips, inside the mouth, everywhere with bacteria. Despite how much time I spent kissing as a kid and how little I kiss now by comparison. I'm surprised that most researchers find that we kiss somewhere between 20 and 25,000 minutes throughout our lifetime. That's about 2 to 2.5 weeks of just continuous kissing. Can you imagine?
That's pretty good.
It's not
bad. Something like that to me screams there's something important here.
Sure. We're communicating something. We're finding something out about one.
I don't know. For me, it just feels like that connection you have to another person.
Well, we never mentioned this question of pre-mastication. By the way, not to be confused with premature ejaculation or masturbation. Pre-mastication. You know what that is?
I don't.
That is pre-chewing the food. This is think before Gerber.
No, this is the
Pre-chewing
bird
food
thing.
and then passing it on to your offspring. Not just birds. Birds do it, but also humans, right? Before Gerber, you would likely still feed your kids after or while you're still breastfeeding. You would give them whole foods, but you couldn't risk them not being able to chew it and digest it. So you would chew it for them and give it to them. As a parent, you never chewed some of the food or never put food in your mouth to make sure it wasn't too hot before you give it to your kid?
Never have I ever.
did that over and over and over. In fact, I remember not that long ago biting pieces of steak off for my son. Instead of cutting it with a knife, I didn't have a knife. I just bite it into little pieces and stick it in his plate.
Never have I ever.
And it wasn't pre-chewed, but perhaps some of my saliva was on it.
All right.
So we think that maybe kissing kind of evolved or co-evolved alongside pre-mastication. Maybe we chewed food first using our lips and mouth and didn't communicate, but fed one another with that.
Well, that
and then
goes
we
to
later
another-
started communicating with the mouth more. And then later did we start sampling one another's DNA or sampling one another's pheromones with getting close to each other.
Well, I think that brings up an interesting question, which is which came first, the platonic kiss or the non-platonic kiss?
I think the platonic kiss probably came first.
I would
because
say non.
See, I was thinking more along the lines of when you're a baby, you learn about how good it feels and how important it is to put your lips on your mom's breast for feeding purposes. And there's a warmth, there's a comfort, there's a shared activity. There's the release of oxytocin. There's the release of serotonin, not just for you, but also from mom. And I'm wondering if that, to some degree, sets you up later in life for really enjoying putting your lips on other people or other people's bodies.
Sounds to me like
little
you're
Freudian.
speaking about an oral fixation.
No, I'm just saying that there is a neurological set of pathways that are laid down both physiologically and socially while you're breastfeeding. I think you would agree with that.
Yeah, sure.
And then throughout life, there's other opportunities to kind of feel good through your lips again. I mean, do you know how many specialized nerve endings we have in our lips?
No.
43,000 specialized nerve endings in our lips. These things are incredibly erogenous. In fact, some people argue that the lips are the most erogenous external part of our bodies.
Really?
Most erogenous exposed, they call it, part of the body.
So we have more nerve endings in our lips than we do our fingertips?
Pretty damn close. That'd be a close second to fingertips.
Okay, so
The anthropologist Desmond Morris said that lips probably evolved as kind of a secondary marker or a signal. He called it a sexual echo.
interesting. I was just about to ask that question.
He said, look, when you think about bonobos, our closest living relatives, when they're in estrus, when they are at peak fertility, their genitals swell and turn red. And since they're on all four, you can see them from behind, from a great distance away. So a male bonobo can see, oh, that chimp is sexually receptive right now. If we have sex, we're going to produce offspring. But throughout human evolution, as you know, we stood up. And that might have changed the ease with which we can signal sexual receptivity and proceptivity
For women.
with our genitals. Yeah, for women. So we believe that the marking got transferred. The buttocks transferred to the breast, and the vulva transferred to the lips. And if you look at the lips carefully, they have the same texture, color, and other types of composition as vulva. And when you ask people to pick out their favorite photograph of a woman's, lips on her face, men across the world almost always pick out the one that's the brightest red.
Really?
No matter what color lipstick you put on, it's the brightest red.
I did not know that.
So, and by the way, lips do swell, but even when they don't swell, we go and put collagen in them. Women make them bigger and more voluptuous and more full.
Yeah.
And again, it might be as Desmond Morris called it, a genital echo, a secondary sort of mimic.
Well, I was
of
just
the genitals.
thinking that when young children, 2, 3, start masturbating, it's not sexual. It's just that, hey, this is skin that feels good.
Absolutely,
And
right?
so, because they don't have any concept of
I mean,
sexuality.
how many
And
people kiss their own arms?
And so that's what I was going to ask you with regards to kissing, is perhaps it was just as simple as this is skin that feels good.
100%. I'm glad you brought that up. This idea that why do we kiss? Maybe we kiss because it feels good.
Yeah,
like
right.
just point blank,
Bang.
period. Maybe there's nothing necessarily.
See, ladies and
else.
gentlemen, that is what is so fun about
Kissing
the social
feels good.
sciences. All you have to do is make shit up.
The why questions can be answered with one word,
Because.
Because. There's at least one other non-sexual or platonic, to use Plato's term, Plato's name, for kissing that we haven't mentioned. And I think we should take a break and come back and talk about that one.
Let's do it.
You got to not talk dirty, baby. And if you won't impress me, you can't be too flirty, mama.
And we're back. If you're just joining us, this is Jason McCoy alongside my co-host Nelson Bowyer. We are the cast of Put 'em on the Couch, and today, the science of smooching. Oculation, as scientists sometimes refer to it. Been talking about the evolution, the chemistry, the neuroscience, the biology, the politics, the economics, you name it. We've been talking about it. And in the last segment, before we went to this very brief break, we were talking about platonic or non-sexual types of kissing.
Yeah.
And I said that there's at least one area, one category that we haven't hit on. Nelson, can you think of what that is?
No, not really.
Think mommy and child.
Kissing foreheads, kissing injuries.
Kissing boo-boos or
Boo-boo
owies.
kiss.
Yeah. You ever kissed or been kissed after you fell down or bumped your head or went owie?
I don't think so.
You remember that? Mommy coming over and giving you a kiss
If she
and
did,
rubbing
I
it?
was too young. Maybe like kissing a finger that I burnt, or after I got that stupid finger prick at the doctor. Maybe something like that. I can't think of anything like that.
So, on the one hand, I want to chalk it up to placebo and just say, look, mom is a source of great comfort, right?
Right.
And so to that extent, if I'm hurting or if I feel like I'm about to get hurt, just having mom around, just having mom say it's going to be okay and reassuring me might in fact sort of set off this cascade of I don't know, alarm fighting or pain fighting chemicals, right? Like when I'm stressed, cortisol rises, but when someone hugs me, especially my mom, there's a whole suite of other chemicals that can kind of compete against this. But I've been thinking lately about some other possibilities regarding the kiss and the boo-boo. In the study of skin receptors, like pain receptors, we know that there are certain receptors in the skin that just hurt like hell when they're open to air, okay? And we know that you can sort of kind of encourage the body to release chemicals that will fight against that effect by rubbing around the site of that injury. How many times have you guys listening ever rubbed a boo-boo or rubbed a sore spot to make it feel better? We know that rubbing helps release a chemical called substance P, which mitigates some of these pain signals that would otherwise go sort of unadulterated. So I'm wondering if the act of putting your lips against your child's head or arm when they fall down might actually kind of be like rubbing the injury. And could that be releasing a chemical like substance P?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Now, I don't suggest that you kiss an open wound. In
No,
fact,
that's a bad idea.
There might be some dangers associated with kissing that we might need to explore.
Well, yeah, certainly throughout history, people have been aware that kissing somebody with a sore or an open sore can lead to, disease transmission. Absolutely.
Or maybe just kissing in general can lead to
Some
disease, right?
of our most common illnesses, the cold sore, herpes simplex 1, is obviously connected to kissing. And you were mentioning some other diseases, right?
Man,
Did you ever
there's
get the kissing?
hepatitis. There's
Did you
the
ever get the kissing
disease known as
disease?
mononucleosis.
Did you ever get that kissing theoretically?
Lead to?
No, wouldn't it make you healthier if it's introducing all these different microbes and antibodies?
Yeah, some people actually believe that kissing might act as an immunization.
Right?
Or that kissing might
a form of
actually
inoculation.
reduce oral problems.
Yeah.
There's also evidence to suggest that, like, if you've got cavities in your mouth, then you are more likely to introduce harmful bacteria into the mouth of the person you're kissing. So
True.
that it kind of cuts both ways.
So where do you think all this goes, man? What is the future of the kiss?
Ooh. So recently, there have been some photographs of Elon Musk, Mr. Futurist, Mr. Billionaire, kissing what appears to be an AI robot.
Yeah, but you got to be careful. That could be AI itself.
No, it is. It is. That's sort of the irony here. These are AI-generated, I assume, pictures of an AI robot kissing. Very attractive, I might add, those robots.
Yeah, those are
kissing
hot.
Elon Musk. And by the way, Elon Musk looks kind of awkward. The robots look pretty sensual, but the Elon Musk looks pretty awkward.
He looks good.
And I think he was upset by it. A lot of people have been upset by it. There's also something called the Henry Kissinger.
Oh, yeah.
No connection to Henry Kissinger, but it is a play on words. Apparently, about 2008 or 9, an Asian company put out this piece of technology that would connect with your iPhone, right, and would give you the ability to, like, interact with this device that would connect with your phone through your lips, and then the vibrations would get encoded and sent to the person on perhaps the other side of the world, and they would put their lips on it, and they would feel you, like, stimulating the device. I'm looking at a photograph of a new version of this created by a Chinese company, just came out last year, and this thing looks like, if you've ever seen the sexual toy called the fleshlight, something that you would penetrate with your penis. This thing looks like a fleshlight.
Something you penetrate with your tongue?
Yeah, and it's sitting on a smartphone, and there's a gentleman pursing his lips up against it. And the company says, quote, "This device will transmit users' kiss data collected through motion sensors," so similar to the Henry Kissinger, "hidden in silicon lips." Here's the key. This device has silicon-based lips. Hence, it looks like a fleshlight. For those of you that don't know what a fleshlight is, Google it, or maybe don't Google it. Makes sounds and even warms up slightly when kissed. So, could this be the future? Could this be the wave of the future?
I don't know, man.
I don't know,
think
man. I
people need
don't
to
want
get
anything
offline.
to kiss in the future. I want something to do my housework. I want something to do my yard work. I want something to help me time. You got to be in more places than once at the same time as a parent, and that's hard. I will.
Let's do this then. Since you want some real,
Yeah.
let's do some kissing rapid fire.
Okay.
All right. Best kiss of all time in a feature film.
I'm going to go Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, that's a good one with the meatball. That's good.
Yeah,
And
with the spaghetti. Yeah.
Spaghetti. That's good.
Yeah. Would you ever kiss a robot?
No.
Okay.
Let's see. What celebrity would you most want
Scarlett
to
Johansson.
kiss? Scarlett Johansson?
Absolutely. She's really tall, and I think she has beautiful lips, and I bet she smells good.
Have you ever kissed a celebrity?
No.
Rate your kiss on a scale of 1 to 10.
My kiss, probably a 5. I don't think it's particularly good or bad.
Who is our best presidential kisser?
I would imagine Barack Obama, because he was just cool.
Okay, yeah.
And he wasn't afraid to, like, sing in public, and his wife, I think, adored him and thought he was cool. So I think that's important when you're kissing someone. Does the person respect you? Does the person find other things about you cool? Right? I think you can get away with a little extra tongue. I think you can get away with your kiss being a little sloppy. I think you can get away with your breath not smelling minty fresh every time you kiss, if you also have the respect of your significant other that you're kissing, right? So, for instance, my wife would probably say the best kiss we've ever had is after I changed some diapers, cleaned the house, and maybe went out and bought her some jewelry, right?
Yeah, sure.
Context.
Sure.
Context matters.
What about the worst presidential kisser?
Oh, God.
Don't say Trump. You can't
I'm
just
not going to say
lazy.
Trump, but I thought, as I look back at some of these older presidents, obviously we don't have video footage of them, but as I look back at some of these guys, they just seem kind of weird and stiff. I just can't even imagine. Looking at some of their wives, likewise, seemed weird and stiff. I don't know. I don't want to say, but I'm thinking Gerald Ford and his wife, maybe.
Okay. If you had
Nixon, I should
Nixon
say.
would
Maybe
be
Nixon, his wife. Yeah,
Ford is kind of
Ford's
hot.
okay. Yeah, she was cool.
because
She was
Ford
cool.
exercises all the time and everything.
But I'm saying Nixon and his wife, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say Ford.
Okay. Would you rather kiss a smoker or a person with 3 teeth?
I'd rather kiss a person with 3 teeth.
Have you ever kissed the smoker?
I have once or twice, but the relationship didn't go very far. I am one of those people that have stopped a relationship in its tracks after I kissed and it didn't taste right or feel right or smell right or, yeah.
All right, final question before we get to a diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pick one man to kiss. Who are you picking?
I'm going to pretend like I got to think about it. But honestly, I'm going to kiss any man on my favorite soccer team, Man City.
Okay.
Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Jeremy Doku, all those guys, athletic.
Okay.
Handsome,
You're
young, you know.
What about Travis Kelce?
Nah,
You don't like the beard?
dude. No, I don't like the country boy lumberjack look. I
Okay.
like more of the boyish, handsome look.
Rob Gronkowski.
Rob Gronkowski, because he's shaved. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like Gronk.
yeah.
And he's funny too. Yeah. I want a little bit of a. You'd have to have somebody that was somewhat of a comedian if it was two heterosexuals kissing, right?
Yeah.
Got to make a joke out of it because we can't actually enjoy it because we're too, hung up about being straight.
I'm not hung up about being straight.
No,
I'm just saying men.
most men are.
All right. Oh, hey, I'll get one more, I guess. How many times a day would you say you kiss your spouse?
2 or 3.
And what about your kids?
Probably 20 or 30.
Yeah.
What about you?
Probably 2 or 3 times each. Now that they're older,
Yeah, that's true.
see them less.
But when they were
tuck 'em
7
in
and
less.
9.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't tuck them in now. They just say goodnight and I give them a kiss before bed.
Man, no, I definitely tuck them in, and I take every chance I can to sniff their foreheads and kiss them on their heads and
Yeah,
kiss them on the cheeks and nuzzle them.
Nothing more human than that.
No. Well, man, I've enjoyed it. I hope
well, wait a minute.
you've enjoyed listening.
You got to get us. You got to diagnose the kiss.
Diagnose.
The kiss. And by the way, you gave a good answer. You were wrong on Lady and the Tramp. It's clearly The Princess Bride.
I was gonna
It's
say
the
I was
Princess
gonna
Bride,
diagnose.
man.
I was gonna diagnose kissing by using a line from The Princess Bride.
Yeah, that's
Right?
it.
I want to diagnose kissing by thinking about an alien coming down to Earth and just observing the kinds of strange things we appear to be doing. Never mind what it must look like to a group of aliens watching us throw a pig skin around and for football games. Never mind an alien coming down and watching us like just stand in a room together and then start like just contorting and like gyrating wildly, so-called dancing. I can only imagine what an alien would think as two of us were just sitting there, our eyes locked onto one another, and before you know it, we are jamming our tongues down into one another's throats. To use the quote from the kid in The Princess Bride, yuck. That's my diagnosis for kissing. Despite the fact that it's probably beneficial in more ways than not, from relieving stress to lowering blood pressure, may even encourage us to live longer. Certainly people who kiss report more satisfaction in their relationships. But at the same time, when you get right down to it, man, that is a lot of microorganisms going from your mouth to someone else's. And so if you said, I've only kissed 1 or 2 people throughout my life, I can imagine that your immune system's kind of synced up. I imagine that your germs are their germs anyway. But the average person says they kiss 19 or 20 people in a lifetime. And I imagine, if I'm being honest, I've probably kissed 2, 3, 4 times that many people. That is just outright gross, man. It really is.
So that's your diagnosis.
Yeah,
It's
that's
gross.
Gross is my diagnosis.
Gross. Yeah, it's crazy. As human beings, it's probably not even the grossest thing we do on a regular basis.
No.
We're a gross group.
I was going to give it pica, which is a type of
I
eating
know
disorder
pica,
where you
I
eat
had a
different
pica
kinds.
baby.
Yeah, where you eat different kinds
My
of
daughter used to eat like
materials.
sand at the beach. And
Yeah, so I guess we could, if I want to use the DSM diagnosis, right, I'd say it's a form of pica, a form of eating strange, otherwise inedible materials. Yeah.
Well,
Trying to ingest one another,
well,
bite one another.
I enjoyed it. I hope you have plenty of kisses on tap for the holiday tomorrow.
Yep.
I have the usual number, no more, no less.
You mean the holiday today? Because this is being
it's
released
coming out
on
today.
Valentine's
The
Day.
holiday
So again,
today. Happy Valentine's
Day. Hope all of you guys that do kiss get some good kisses. I hope all you guys that don't kiss get some good kisses too, but just in the form of those little chocolates that are wrapped in foil.
I don't wish that on anybody. Get those hearts, those candy hearts.
Oh,
those
the
are good.
Dove candy
those
hearts.
are good. Yeah, chocolates are overrated.
Oh, you're talking about those gross little
Yeah, those gross things
with the
with the
messages
weird
on them.
messages on them,
Yeah.
like the Valentine's Day fortune cookies.
Yeah. Well, we've been here enough. We've done this enough. It's an hour, and I know our listeners are probably ready to turn this thing off.
Well, let's turn it off for him, buddy.
Yeah.
See you in a couple weeks.
Thanks for listening. And our next one will be Nostalgia with Dr. Jeff Green from Virginia Commonwealth University in a couple of days. Take care.
Since the invention of the kiss, there have been 5 kisses that were rated the most passionate, the most pure. This one left them all behind.